Wherever you go, go with all your heart. We should feel sorrow, but not sink under its oppression. And remember, no matter where you go, there you are. To be wealthy and honored in an unjust society is a disgrace. Roads were made for journeys, not destinations. To go beyond is as wrong as to fall short. The way you cut your meat reflects the way you live. Real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. Desire to have things done quickly prevents their being done thoroughly. 3 things cannot long be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. The object of the superior man is truth. What you do not wish upon yourself, extend not to others. What you do not wish upon yourself, extend not to others. Learn as if you were not reaching your goal and as though you were scared of missing it. To understand yourself is the key to wisdom. Sincerity is the way of heaven. When anger rises, think of the consequences. A lack of patience in trifling matters might lead to the disruption of great project. Straightforwardness, without the rules of propriety, becomes rudeness. Love is like a spice. It can sweeten your life, however, it can spoil it, too. The degree of civilization in a society can be judged by entering its prisons. The soul is healed by being with children. The more I love humanity in general, the less I love man in particular. The darker the night, the brighter the stars, the deeper the grief, the closer is God. The 2 most powerful warriors are patience and time. There is only one thing that I dread, not to be worthy of my sufferings. To go wrong in one's own way is better than to go right in someone else's. The mystery of human existence lies not in just staying alive, but in finding something to live for. The strongest man in the world is he who stands most alone. The more one does and sees and feels, the more one is able to do, and the more genuine may be one's appreciation of fundamental things like home, and love, and understanding companionship. The man who has a conscience suffers for the crimes of the whole world. The greatest happiness is to know the source of unhappiness. The man who lies to himself and listens to his own lie comes to a point that he cannot distinguish the truth within him, or around him, and so loses all respect for himself and for others. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched, they must be felt with the heart. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. The only thing that can conquer evil is good. The more I love, the more I suffer, the more I suffer, the more I love. The only certain happiness in life is to live for others. The more we try to fight our passions, the stronger they become. To be truly great in little things, to be truly noble and heroic in the insipid details of everyday life, is a virtue so rare as to be worthy of canonization. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency and vibration. I don't care that they stole my idea. I care that they don't have any of their own. The scientists of today think deeply instead of clearly. One must be sane to think clearly, but one can think deeply and be quite insane. The present is theirs, the future, for which I really worked, is mine. If your hate could be turned into electricity, it would light up the whole world. Be alone. That is the secret of invention. Be alone. That is when ideas are born. I do not think you can name many great inventions that have been made by married men. One must be sane to think clearly, but one can think deeply and be quite insane. Our virtues and our failings are inseparable, like force and matter. When they separate, man is no more. Life is and will ever remain an equation incapable of solution, but it contains certain known factors. If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6 and 9, then you would have the key to the universe. We crave for new sensations but soon become indifferent to them. The wonders of yesterday are today common occurrences. What one man calls God, another calls the laws of physics. The individual is ephemeral, races and nations come and pass away, but man remains. You may live to see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension. Great moments are born great apart unity. It's not the love you make. It's the love you give. Inventors don't have time for married life. Marconi is a good fellow. Let him continue. He is using 17 of my patents. As I review the events of my past life, I realize how subtle are the influences that shape our destinies. Don't keep forever on the public road, going only where others have gone. Leave the beaten track occasionally and dive into the woods. You'll be certain to find something you have never seen before. Concentrate all your thoughts on the task at hand. The sun's rays do not burn until brought to a focus. Leave the beaten track behind occasionally and dive into the woods. Every time you do, you'll be certain to find something you have never seen before. What this power is I cannot say. All I know is that it exists and it becomes available only when a man is in that state of mind in which he knows exactly what he wants and is fully determined not to quit until he finds it. Ketakasatar pinditurdidup maka pintulana canturbuka. Kadang kita terlalu lama terpakuti depan pinditurdidup hitu. Before anything else, preparation is the key to success. Be not the first by whom the new are tried, nor yet the last to lay the old aside. When one door closes, another opens, but we often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door that we do not see the one that is opened for us. A man, as a general rule, owes very little to what he is born with. A man is what he makes of himself. I would impress upon your minds the fact that if you want to do a man justice, You should believe what a man says himself rather than what people say he says. A man's own judgment should be the final appeal in all that relates to himself. The most successful men, in the end, are those whose success is the result of steady accretion. Man is an animal which, alone among the animals, refuses to be satisfied by the fulfillment of animal desires. It is the man who carefully advances step by step, who is bound to succeed in the greatest degree. Man is the result of slow growth, that is why he occupies the position he does in animal life. What does a pup amount to that has gained its growth in a few days or weeks, beside a man who only attains it in as many years? I have always considered myself as an agnostic. Don't keep forever on the public road, going only where others have gone. Night is a more quiet time to work. It aids thought. Great discoveries and improvements invariably involve the cooperation of many minds. The day will come when the man at the telephone will be able to see the distant person to whom he is speaking.
Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and others have greatness thrust upon them. We know what we are, but know not what we may be. Sweet are the uses of adversity which, like the toad, ugly and venomous, wears yet a precious jewel in his head. Our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. How poor are they that have not patience! What wound did ever heal but by degrees? Nothing can come of nothing. How far that little candle throws its beams, so shines a good deed in a naughty world. What's done can't be undone. Though she be but little, she is fierce. No legacy is so rich as honesty. This above all, to thine own self be true. I wasted time, and now both time waste me. The robbed that smiles, steals something from the thief. The devil can cite scripture for his purpose. One touch of nature makes the whole world kin. What is past is prologue. Small cheer and great welcome makes a merry feast. Sweet mercy is nobility's true badge. The youth of that nation should leave spirituality and go through a life of dead heart and obscenity. That nation loses without a war. I am not in danger from 1,000,000 Christians and their swords. I am in danger from 1,000 Muslims who have drowned in cups of wine. When a woman and alcohol go to the sword of Muslims, it becomes a piece of iron. Crusaders and Jews will try to create animosity between the army and the nation of Islam in every era. No one can defeat the nation whose youth is awakened. A spy can defeat the whole enemy, and a traitor can humiliate his entire nation.
Traitors should be punished in every possible way. Defenders of Islam will be drowned in the straws of alcohol, and Paspano has imprisoned himself in his house, and women have become chains on his legs. The intoxication of government, wealth, and women, blind good people. The martyrs of the nation and the oppressed daughters of the nation are destined to be enslaved by the infidels. The Quran has given you the principle that if there is war, fight, and if not, prepare for war. The ruler protects his government and the mujahid sacrifices his country. Sapphire is a dangerous flower of a man who is a woman in a swamp of alcohol. The basis of our decline is the intoxication of the crown and the love of jewels. I don't know if Islam is spread by sword or morality, but I know very well that sword is needed to protect Islam. When the rulers start giving priority to the protection of their lives, they are not able to protect the eyebrows of the country and the nation. The pain of freedom is better than the pain of slavery. There are no exceptions to this rule because the need of the poor is fulfilled, but the happiness of the king is also left unfulfilled. Beware of two kinds of luxuries: disappointment and mental jealousy. Man first gets frustrated but escapes through mental jealousy. The strengths of bad habits and good relationships are assessed when trying to break them. Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They're in each other all along. There are 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground. There are 1,000 ways to go home again. Raise your words, not voice. It is rain that grows flowers, not thunder. This place is a dream. Only a sleeper considers it real. Then death comes like dawn, and you wake up laughing at what you thought was your grief. Would you become a pilgrim on the road of love? The first condition is that you make yourself humble as dust and ashes. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean, in a drop. If the foot of the trees were not tied to the earth, they would be pursuing me. For I have blossomed so much, I am the envy of the gardens. Stop acting so small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion. Don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your myth. Why do you stay in prison, when the door is so wide open? The prophets accept all agony and trust it. For the water has never feared the fire. Your depression is connected to your insolence and refusal to praise. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. Everything that is made beautiful and fair and lovely is made for the eye of one who sees. Ignore those that make you fearful and sad, that degrade you back towards disease and death. There is a candle in your heart, ready to be kindled. There is a void in your soul, ready to be filled. You feel it, don't you? Words are a pretext. It is the inner bond that draws one person to another, not words. Goodbyes are only for those who love with their eyes. Because for those who love with heart and soul there is no such thing as separation. Set your life on fire. Seek those who fan your flames. I know you're tired, but come, this is the way. A truth that's told with bad intent beats all the lies you can invent. If a thing loves, it is infinite. Those who restrain desire do so because theirs is weak enough to be restrained. Those who restrain desire do so because theirs is weak enough to be restrained. Tiger. Tiger. Burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? What is now proved was once only imagined. The imagination is not a state, it is the human existence itself. I must create a system, or be enslaved by another man's. I will not reason and compare, my business is to create. The man who never alters his opinion is like standing water, and breeds reptiles of the mind. The road of excess leads to the palace of wisdom. To generalize is to be an idiot. In the universe, there are things that are known, and things that are unknown, and in between, there are doors. The glory of Christianity is to conquer by forgiveness. Eternity is in love with the productions of time. You never know what is enough unless you know what is more than enough. Love seeketh not itself to please, nor for itself hath any care, but for another gives its ease, and builds a heaven in hell's despair. Truth can never be told so as to be understood and not be believed. He who kisses joy as it flies by will live in eternity's sunrise. For all eternity, I forgive you and you forgive me. The means of defense against foreign danger have been always the instruments of tyranny at home. The advancement and diffusion of knowledge is the only guardian of true liberty. Philosophy is common sense with big words. The truth is that all men having power ought to be mistrusted. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Equal laws protecting equal rights, the best guarantee of loyalty and love of country. Americans have the right and advantage of being armed, unlike the citizens of other countries whose governments are afraid to trust the people with arms. Charity is no part of the legislative duty of the government. No nation could preserve its freedom in the midst of continual warfare. You must first enable the government to control the governed, and in the next place, oblige it to control itself. Democracy is the most vile form of government. Where an excess of power prevails, property of no sort is duly respected. No man is safe in his opinions, his person, his faculties or his possessions. Liberty may be endangered by the abuses of liberty as well as by the abuses of power. All men having power ought to be distrusted to a certain degree. As a man is said to have a right to his property, he may be equally said to have a property in his rights. Let me recommend the best medicine in the world: a long journey at a mild season through a pleasant country in easy stages. Of all the enemies to public liberty, war is perhaps the most to be dreaded because it comprises and develops the germ of every other. Liberty may be endangered by the abuse of liberty, but also by the abuse of power. If tyranny and oppression come to this land, It will be in the guise of fighting a foreign enemy. Religious bondage shackles and debilitates the mind and unfits it for every noble enterprise, every expanded prospect. It is better to offer no excuse than a bad one. It is better to be alone than in bad company. If freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led, like sheep to the slaughter. My mother was the most beautiful woman I ever saw. All I am I owe to my mother. I attribute my success in life to the moral, intellectual and physical education I received from her. Human happiness and moral duty are inseparably connected. "99% of failures come from people who make excuses." I hope I shall possess firmness and virtue enough to maintain what I consider the most enviable of all titles, the character of an honest man. Guard against the impostures of pretended patriotism. Labor to keep alive in your breast that little spark of celestial fire called conscience. Perseverance and spirit have done wonders in all ages. Associate yourself with men of good quality, if you esteem your own reputation, for 'tis better to be alone than in bad company. A sensible woman can never be happy with a fool. Happiness depends more upon the internal frame of a person's own mind, than on the externals in the world. Few men have virtue to withstand the highest bidder. The harder the conflict, the greater the triumph. Experience teaches us that it is much easier to prevent an enemy from posting themselves than it is to dislodge them after they have got possession. Worry is the interest paid by those who borrow trouble. The turning points of lives are not the great moments. The real crises are often concealed in occurrences so trivial in appearance that they pass unobserved. To encourage literature and the arts is a duty which every good citizen owes to his country. I conceive a knowledge of books as the basis upon which other knowledge is to be built. Do what you can, with what you have, where you are. It is hard to fail, but it is worse never to have tried to succeed. The only man who never makes mistakes is the man who never does anything. When you're at the end of your rope, tie a knot and hold on. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Courage is not having the strength to go on, it is going on when you don't have the strength. I am a part of everything that I have read. Knowing what's right doesn't mean much unless you do what's right. To educate a person in the mind but not in morals is to educate a menace to society. In any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The worst thing you can do is nothing. Keep your eyes on the stars, and your feet on the ground. Speak softly and carry a big stick, you will go far. A vote is like a rifle, its usefulness depends upon the character of the user. Whenever you are asked if you can do a job, tell them, "Certainly I can." Then get busy and find out how to do it. Never throughout history has a man who lived a life of ease left a name worth remembering. When you play, play hard. When you work, don't play at all. It is only through labor and painful effort, by grim energy and resolute courage, that we move on to better things. People ask the difference between a leader and a boss. The leader leads, and the boss drives. Let us rather run the risk of wearing out than rusting out. Far and away the best prize that life has to offer is the chance to work hard at work worth doing.
One word frees us of all the weight and pain of life, that word is love. Fortune is not on the side of the faint-hearted. The keenest sorrow is to recognize ourselves as the sole cause of all our adversities. One must wait until the evening to see how splendid the day has been. Go then if you must, but remember, no matter how foolish your deeds, those who love you will love you still. To throw away an honest friend is, as it were, to throw your life away. If you try to cure evil with evil, you will add more pain to your fate. A man, though wise, should never be ashamed of learning more, and must unbend his mind. There's nothing in the world so demoralizing as money. I have no desire to suffer twice, in reality and then in retrospect. You can kill a man but you can't kill an idea. I was born to join in love, not hate, that is my nature. Time, which sees all things, has found you out. Tomorrow is tomorrow. Future cares have future cures, and we must mind today. How dreadful the knowledge of the truth can be when there is no help in truth. Grief teaches the steadiest minds to waver. We have only a little time to please the living, but all eternity to love the dead. Death is not the worst thing, rather, when one who craves death cannot attain even that wish. When I have tried and failed, I shall have failed. No one loves the messenger who brings bad news.